It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. I'm the president of Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting. And you can find a link to my work at emailrevealer.com. Emailrevealer.com. And it's where you can also get an autographed copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. Hey, by the way, if you enjoy the show and you enjoy all this stuff, the first chapter in the book is a story, my little bio of my life you might be interested in reading. Oh, boy. Okay. Also to at emailrevealer.com, adoption investigations, locates background checks, name and address from a phone number, locate someone, identify somebody from an anonymous email address, catch them cheating online, we trace their email address back to online dating websites and personal ads. Emailrevealer.com. Oh boy, what a day, what a day. Hey, check out cartking.com, cart-king.com, yeah. 877-986-7771. And what they do is they build those little carts and kiosks that you see at malls and at the airport and lobby of the hospital there selling coffee and stuff like that. Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? You can go into business for yourself with one of those little shopping carts there in the mall. And so I started out with my beeper company, Front Page Beepers, which then turned into Front Page Communications and then Spiderweb Communications. A huge little empire of beepers and cell phones I had there for a while. Perhaps your current business wants to add multiple point of sale locations across the country quickly. Now that means if you got a business going on right now, let's say you sell handbags, right? Purses. You manufacture them. You could be in 25 malls across the country overnight. It's really easy to do, man. In fact, call me up, I'll help you do it. CartKing.com can be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail coffee and food carts and kiosks that money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been doing this work with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. Even those snack bars you see out in front of the Little League games, you know, right by the Little League field, those firework booths, you know, large heated secure outdoor retail or food kiosks to smaller, more mobile coffee stations and carts. CartKing.com designs and builds them all. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on their website, www.cart-king.com. Don't forget that dash. Remember, dial a mattress. You leave the last S off for savings. With cart-king.com, don't leave off that last dash. And that's how you save, by going to the correct cart-king.com, cart-king.com. Don't forget that dash. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. Get a good deal. 877-986-7771. They're fans of the show, by the way. Good old cart-king.com. Okay, I was in a cart. That's how I started my business, my beeper company. They started out with a little cart. Then I built a big giant kiosk, and we built a bigger kiosk. And yeah, it was a whole different story back. They had no websites to design these things. But one guy we hired totally ripped us off, man. You know, we took the cheapest guy out there we could get to build this kiosk for us, man. He came down, and we wound up having to finish the thing ourselves. What a mess that was. But anyway, back to the show. First of all, I want to apologize. We had some issues with the broadcast, with the portion of the Connor Frazier portion about the Nathan Forrest Winters story about the movie Babysitter. Nathan Forrest Winters was the young boy who was molested by Victor Salva, who was that movie producer, you know, Jeepers Creepers and all that stuff like that. And did a great interview with him, but it crashed in Spreaker. It went on the air everywhere. Don't panic, guys, if you're with the movie there. It went off without a hitch on all the stations. And I'll fix it so that it'll go up on Spreaker and YouTube correctly before the night is over. But there was no way to correct it once it had crashed. There was no way to fix it. I just had to sit here in the dead air for an hour. So, and I appreciate people, emailing me and trying to contact me and say, hey, there's dead air. I know, thank you. I'm aware. I do the best I can. Okay, it's been a long day. Let me tell you, productive day. Okay, a good productive day. I'm getting a lot of stuff done here. But we had a little issue with that. But I tell you, what a day, man! Today, I did a bunch of interviews in the past couple of days. McCracken was yesterday. Brian McCracken, the story about the Arliss Perry murder, an exclusive witness that we have here. He hasn't done any other interviews anywhere in the world except for me in the New York Post. Nathan Forrest Winters just came out with this new movie. I'm the first interview he's done on it. In fact, I was the second interview he's ever done in his whole life about the story originally. Then now he came back and helped him with his movie here. I got Danny Bonaducci's ex-wife coming up, Gretchen Bonaducci. I got Doug Caddy, who was the first lawyer for the Watergate burglars. He's another guy that I found in obscurity, put him on the show, and now he's got another book deal out there. I have this other guy coming on who he died, and he met some angels, and we're going to be talking to him for 1 hour. Who else did I tape with this week? It was been a busy week, man. I tell you, I'm exhausted. You have no idea. I'm still, and people too asking, how's it going with the tea? How's it going with the diet? I'm still on the Daniel fast. I'm still doing it. It's over 110 days easily now. No sugar, no coffee, no alcohol, no meat, no fish, no nothing. Just fruit, nuts, and vegetables, and a lot of water, And I'm really, man, I'm going to post some pictures, man, once I got like a full six-pack here, because now I'm doing a lot of sit-ups and push-ups and stuff. Riding my bike every day. I'm doing about 18, 20 miles a day on the bike. Found this new great trail down here in Henderson, Nevada, called the Railroad Pass Trail. Oh, man, I'm loving it. It's a nice, smooth, flat trail. I tell you, the trail by my house here, the Pittman Wash Trail, when you ride by, you say good morning to people, and they talk to you back and forth. Everybody's friendly. But on this trail here, all these bikers on this trail, they're rude. They're nasty, man. They don't even say hello. Oh, you guys got a bug up their ass, man. So I do that. I go swimming every morning still. A little bit of weightlifting. I got dumbbells. I don't have a weight set. We have a gym here at the complex, but I don't really use it that often. So I'm working out, man. I'm working out, feeling really strong. And I'll post some pictures. You're going to be shocked when you see them. Let's see. Who else? I did an interview today with a guy named Charlie, about his book. Let me see if I can pull this thing up real fast. He's a good guy. He's a local guy here, too. And he's involved in some TV show where they flip houses, but he didn't want to talk about that. So I didn't push him on it. He's got a TV show. Oh, come on. We're going to get this. Come on. Okay, go here. Pull that up. Got the slowest computer in the world. The octopus of global control. The guy's name is Charlie Robinson. I interviewed him, Connor Frazier about the babysitter, Brian McCracken, and Nathan Forrest Winters. I had him back on the show too. But that's going to be playing tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have Nathan Forrest. Oh, did I screw up? Yeah, tomorrow was supposed to be Brian McCracken. But anyway, tomorrow will be Nathan Forrest Winters and then Charlie Robinson about the octopus of global control. I did a couple of interviews. I was interviewed a couple of times this week. One was by Joe Gazebo Michael, who is a listener to the show, and he's got his own podcast show. I forgot to ask him where he plays it, but it's called like the Parallax something. Sorry, Joe. I apologize. But that was a fun interview. One of like 90 minutes. That was a good show. And then I did one that I'm kind of regretting. I like the guy. Who is he? What's his name? Nathan Stoppelman from Lift the Veil. And his show airs on YouTube. Okay? So, and he had me on once before, he praised me on the show. And the first like 10 minutes of the show was about my estrangement from Doug Schurter. No, is it Doug Schurter? David Schurter. I like David Schurter, He's a good guy. So the first question is, he's trying to repair my friendship with David Schurter. I said, okay. David's a good guy. And I like David, but just, he was driving me crazy. But so this time he has me on the show. And Nathan Stoppelman is a nice guy. I don't know all his other theories and all the stuff that's going on in the show. But so I go on the show and I'm talking about McMartin, you know, but Jeffrey Epstein, all the stuff, you know, I talk a lot about. You know, I think I know these topics fairly well. As a matter of fact, some people consider that I'm an expert so much that they hire me on these cases as a consultant. But what do I know, right? What do I know? So, but it turns out that Stoppelman's audience, Lift the Veil, it's called. Some of these characters are like really, really out there. And I guess a lot of them are like really serious Trump fans. Because, man, they were having no part of me, man. They just right away, well, he's a liar. Oh, he's making it up. He's a liar. Who is this guy? Oppenheimer. He's a Jew. He's a Jew. Burn him. Look at his tail. Look at his horns. He's a Jew. Really, like, you know, I was out there, that kind of stuff. So I got to say, man, you know, listen, when I started doing this show, I was on that crazy station, the Revolution radio station, right? Thursday mornings, right? No one was listening. And, man, I would hear the callers that would call in there. They were just freaking nuts. And I would listen to the other hosts in these round tables, and they're just babbling on insanity. And when my audience would call in, I would say, boy, man, we got a smart audience, man. And then as the show grew, you know, you start bringing in, you get in more fringe people that are a little wacky. You know, I got a really crazy phone call from a listener this week, you know. But still, I got to tell you, man, I got a lot of respect for my audience. Even though I get impatient, and you know, everybody knows I get cranky and stuff like that with a lot of the comments and emails and messages I get. But for the most part, man, I got to tell you, I got a really, really sharp an audience that I really respect. You know, and I got to tell you, man, you know, I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Oh, get this. And I wake up today, and I'm interviewing this guy, this Charlie guy, right? About the Global Octopus book, and I get a message that AJ Benz is on the radio talking about me. Okay, AJ Benz is on his podcast, and he's talking about me. I had him on the show. AJ Benz is like a, you know, Howard Stern show. He knows Trump, you know, and he was talking about me, about the shows that I did in my work about the Corey Feldman stuff. So that was interesting. But was better than that, man, and really something cool happened today. I'm working with a client, okay? And this is something I'll never... if I wind up talking about this on the air, it'll because the whole thing exploded in my face. Okay, so it's definitely, we don't want to be talking about this. Hopefully, you'll never hear the details of this case. But I'm working on this case. It's like one of those Me Too cases, you know, where I got a client who was a victim of sexual abuse and sexual harassment, and really some really nasty stuff was done to her by a real high-profile celebrity. You'd know the name right away if I mentioned it. And he's on a cable news network, and right away you'd know the name if I mentioned it to you. So I've been working on this case for a long time, trying to get a legal team together to get a settlement on this case. And I got somebody good. But I says, you know what, man, let me shoot for the stars here and contact so-and-so. This lawyer would be a really good lawyer to get a hold of on this case. And so I put out my feelers. I said, hey, you know, I'm contacting this person. Hey, can you get me an introduction to so-and-so? Hey, because you don't want to just email their law firm. You know, you get some associate attorney emails you back, and, you know, you're wasting your time. I want to go to the top. I want to get the top lawyer at the firm there. So I'm going to everybody I know. Hey, can you get me an introduction? Hey, can you make me an introduction to this guy? And so finally, and people say, oh, yeah, don't worry, I'll do it for you. Oh, yeah, well, they forget. You know, 4th of July, they're eating their hot dog and their Burns, baked beans, whatever they're eating over there, right? Whatever they're doing, their coleslaw, whatever you guys are doing. You know what I did on 4th of July? I spent it all by myself. I had a date lined up, and this chick leaves me standing there waiting, you know? Totally, no, people today have no, what's that called? Attention span, you know? I tell you. But so I'm getting everybody trying to get me my name in front of this lawyer, okay? To get it on their desk. And finally I say, you know what, man? I'm just going to email him myself. I'm just going to go to the website. I'm going to put the contact me form on and fill it out. And I fill it out. And I get back. It's from the guy. The name lawyer on this law firm. Not the associates, these junior associates. Some of these law firms, they got like 50 junior associate lawyers that weed out their cases. The top guy gets back to me. And he says, Ed, thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm a great admirer of your work. Okay. And then, I said, yeah. And we go back, and he goes, oh, no. I'm very familiar with you. You're working the Sarah Palin case. And he starts mentioning off the cases that I worked on. And he mentioned stuff that I don't even talk about on the air. That stuff, I guess, that words gotten around, that things I've done. So I was really shot in the arm, man, to really boost for my ego, which I know a lot of people think I'm egotistical, but I'm really not. I'm very hard on myself, and especially doing this show because I came into this radio business, with a reputation, with a career, and now people just dismiss me as this idiotic radio guy with stupid opinions and stuff like that. And it's really good to see people who I respect, come to me and say, well, I respect your body of work that you've done in your life. So that was a great honor for me today. And I think, guys, I think that we're gonna get a settlement in this case, a nice big fat settlement. And we'll be putting a real creep in his place. And making some money to boot, and restoring my client to the original condition she was in, at least with therapy and actual she's going to need the physical treatment to recover from some of the damages. By the way, speaking of recovering from damages and building things, I was able today to reapply to YouTube to try to get my YouTube channel monetized once again. So let's see how that goes, man, guys. Say a prayer for me, okay? Because it's really, even though we got this great new sponsor, CardKing.com, who's picking up that gap, even with the new sponsor, it just puts us back to where we were, so it doesn't put us anywhere ahead, and now I got this big expense with this McMartin investigation. Me and Victoria, my beautiful daughter, I told you last week that she was down there in Florida, for that World School Debate. It's a national debate thing. And then she flew back from Florida. I picked her up at the airport. The next morning we got up at the crack of dawn, and I drove her down to the VFW Lodge over here on Van Wagenen Boulevard here in Henderson, Nevada, where the buses picked them up and took them up there to Carson City, where they did this legislature. It was a girls' camp, all girls, 18-year-old girls, 17-year-old girls, 19-year-old girls, all debaters and stuff like that, part of the debate team, and where they did this thing where they took over the legislature, and Victoria was a senator. She was Senator Opperman. And it was broadcast on the Nevada legislature website live, but I was on the wrong channel watching the assembly. I didn't watch my own daughter. I didn't catch it. But I understand that we can find it, and it is available. If not, we'll contact them, and I'm sure we can get a copy of it. But she gave like 5 speeches that day, and she did so well that she ran for to go to nationals with this event, where she would go to Washington, D.C. and do the same thing. And they pick up the tab for you. It's all expenses paid at that level. They fly to D.C., they put you up. And so she is the first runner-up. Okay, the 2 kids were elected to go down there in her group, in the state of Nevada from her group, out of hundreds of kids. But she's the first runner-up. So if something happens to these 1 or 2 kids, and I know where they live, okay, so, I'm not saying I'm going to do anything, but if something tragic happens to them, some kind of accident, a guy running his bicycle, runs him over, whatever, my daughter will be going to Washington, D.C., man, to be Senator Opperman. How cool is that? Okay, well, let's take a little commercial break, and when we get back, I'll tell you about the McMartin trip coming up, because that's a whole part of the next thing. Vic's going with me and all that kind of stuff. We'll be right back after these messages with more of the Opperman Report. Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Perhaps your current business wants to add multiple point-of-sale locations across the country quickly. Maybe the facility you manage could kickstart revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Well, CartKing.com can be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail, coffee, and food carts and kiosks money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application, from large, heated and secure outdoor retail or food kiosks to smaller, more mobile coffee station carts, CartKing.com designs and builds them all. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on the website. Please visit them today at CartKing.com. That's cart-king.com. Or just call them at 1-877-986-7771. That's 877-986-7771. The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubhashTechnosis.com. Subhash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company located in India. So you know you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service to boot. They offer all kinds of services, business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshore research networking, customer care, press release content writing and distribution, and much, much more. They offer website development, e-commerce solutions, mobile responsive designs. Now, I've personally worked with Subhash for over 10 years. This is the man that puts out my press releases. They've done work on my websites, so I can personally recommend SubhashTechnosis.com. You can find the link to Subhash Technosis at OppermanReport.com and also awakeradio.us.
People are waking up. They're standing up to those pushing pesticides and GMOs as safe alternatives for a starving world. What a bunch of crap! I tell you, I'd rather eat dirt. So I drink Life Change Tea. It's an herbal drink, cleansing my body of toxic sludge and nasty chemicals, and of course, ridding the intruders that are hidden in my so-called food. And by the way, Life Change Tea is non-GMO and organic. No fillers, no yuck. Just a great defense against you-know-what. May the supplement force awaken you. Don't fall to the dark side. Sorry. I went to the movies last night. Anyway, enough said. How do you get that herbal drink and change your life? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. You will awaken. You will get stronger, and you might even lose a bit of weight. So awaken to Life Change Tea and the many one-of-a-kind supplements at GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. May the supplement force be with you.
We all have questions. Did he do it or did he not? We all have opinions, but do we really know the truth? New evidence will now be presented and the ultimate answers will be revealed in the explosive documentary, Serpents Rising. Inspired by the bestseller Double Cross for Blood, an independent investigation of the trial of the century, the lies, the myths, and the concealed evidence. Don't miss Serpents Rising.
This excellent documentary film is available at Serpents Rising at Vimeo Videos on demand. Watch it for $1.99. You can have your ad played here at OppermanReport.com every Friday night, 5 p.m., and Saturday night, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on Friday nights, too, we do a live portion for 1 hour that I just do a live monologue. The ads are very, very inexpensive, and they're also played in the Opperman Report member section. In the member section, you can find all kinds of exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. It's as cheap as $6 a month, $20 a quarter, or $75 for a year. If you contact me directly at oppermanreport@gmail.com, I'll set you up with a little special deal there where you get a discount if you PayPal me directly, and you even get a copy of my book. I want to thank William Ramsey, who helps us produce the show and book guests. You can find William Ramsey, who's an excellent author, at William Ramsey Investigates on YouTube. Okay, what's going on there? Welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. So like I was saying, we're going to be taking our trip to California. I've been talking about lately about this investigation I'm reopening into the McMartin preschool child molestation case from the 80s. Based around mostly about this geologist, Mr. Michael, who was there as an eyewitness to this hand-dug room underneath the detached garage on the property there where the McMartin preschool was in Manhattan Beach. Now, so I've been trying to raise money for this, trying to get people to donate or send some memberships or something like that, and it hasn't been very successful, okay, as usual. You know, I needed about, $1,200 to pull this off, and we didn't even come close, not even 10%. I guess about 20% we got. So I borrowed money. And I'm going to go ahead and do this on my own dime and just pay for it myself. I know it's not the smartest thing to do in the world, but what are you going to do? So the plan is now, what we're going to do is, Victoria's going to go look at colleges in California. So we're heading out Sunday. We're going first to Santa Cruz, University of Santa Cruz, and then we're driving down south. We're going to hit Pepperdine, and we're going to visit the law program down there, which is the school we're hoping, that we can get enough grants and, student loans and stuff, and scholarships, to get into Pepperdine. Life-changing, deal for Victoria if we could. So there's that. Then we're going to go to UCLA. And then we're going to go down to I have an appointment there in LA County, okay, to recover some documents. Then we're going to be heading down to San Diego. And we're going to visit the University of San Diego. And in San Diego, I have a witness who's another eyewitness. It's besides the original eyewitness that I have. And this eyewitness, he's more than an eyewitness. And he also has a connection to the property. So this is a big deal. This will really crack this whole case wide open, and no one can will be able to look at this case the same way again. If this is done correctly, if it's done properly, if I can get everything done the right way. But I got a good feeling about this, guys. So that's that. And that's this weekend. Oh, by the way, so next week, because I'll probably be coming back Friday right around this time. Okay. So either we'll have a repeat next week or I'll have a live guest, because I have nothing prepared for next week. I got a bunch of guests lined up after that, for the week after that. And there's stuff going up in the member section. I have new content going up. I got the Stoppelman interview and the Joe Gazebo interview going up in the member section almost immediately. So either I'll have a live guest Friday and Saturday, or I'll find someone to tape Saturday morning, or we'll have a best of repeat kind of deal. So that's what's going on next week. Now, there's something in the news. No, it's not even in the news. Okay, it's not even in the news. I found out something today. Okay, there's and everyone's all, fascinated with the October 1st Las Vegas shooting at the Mandalay Bay. That some people think happened at the Four Seasons somehow, but it's the Mandalay Bay. Okay. And there's a lot of fascination with this, and there was so much at the time. There's so much obsession over it that people were just constantly barraging me. Oh my God! If I think back to those days, how I was being barraged with emails and messages on Facebook and YouTube videos and comments on my Facebook wall. I deleted and I blocked so many people. I have no idea, and lost real friends too. Just people that just became obsessed with this and just thought, well, I had to see every single thing that they were looking at. No matter how many times I told people, leave me alone, stop. So, and I know that everyone thinks that they've got all of the case solved by watching YouTube videos and stuff like that, but there is something you don't know about. Just came out today. There's some of the civil lawsuits going on against the Mandalay Bay here. And I was down at the Regional Justice Center today, and I was talking to some people I know, and they were telling me about some new paperwork that was filed today. And it involves, and no one's going to know. This isn't on YouTube, I'll tell you that. Okay, and it's not on the local news, so it's definitely not on the national news. I was watching the national news today. But 3 years ago, at the Mandalay Bay, housekeeping went into a hotel room, and they found a guy in the room up there with like 100 guns. And some of the guns were pointed out the window toward the Las Vegas Strip. This guy, I never heard about this. But which is common down here too, by the way, because the tourist industry controls the media here, like 100%. They don't even tell you about how crazy the weather here is in Nevada. We got wind down here, like people wouldn't. We have wind, like hurricane gust winds at 30 miles an hour. And with dust storms blowing in your face and getting that sand gets in your eyes and stuff like that, they don't talk about this, for the tourists. They tell you, hey, if you come here, you're going to get blown off your bicycle. They don't tell you any of that when you're watching the commercials about Las Vegas, fabulous Las Vegas, go to Wayne Newton's house, So they didn't mention anything of this on the news 3 years ago. I was here 3 years ago. And they arrested this guy for this, quiet trial, quiet arrest. And the guy's down in Texas. I guess it was not a federal crime because they got him down in Texas serving time. So this was added to some... I haven't gotten a hold of the court paperwork yet because I don't even think it was filed yet, to tell you the truth. Okay? I'm hearing this, through the grapevine. But it's for real. I trust the people who told me this. So now that's some breaking news. And, if it sounds like that could have been a dry... If everyone wants to talk about a second shooter... maybe that guy was in cahoots with this guy. Let's take a look at that. The reason why this was included in this civil lawsuit is because they're saying, hey, the security at the Mandalay Bay was lax. And they knew that people were bringing guns up there by the truckload. Should have done something to stop it. So that's a little interesting little tidbit out there for all you internet detectives to look into and do some research on. You go find a YouTube video on that one. I dare you. I double dare you. Okay. Oh, boy. Hey, great news, man. There's been a great new development in the Trump administration's war against pedophiles. Trump is the hero pedo hunter, right? And he's got 40,000 sealed indictments, and he's made more pedo arrests. He's rounded up more pedophile arrests. They call it pedos now. They call them pedo arrests. Now, I remember when I first started reporting on this kind of stuff, you had to say pedophile. Now you have to say pedo. Okay. All right. Because now everybody is into this now. Now everybody's concerned. Well-meaning people, for sure. But just gullible, hopeful, praying and hoping that Trump is going to be a hero and a knight in shining armor that's going to solve this horrific problem that we have going on here. They're covering up McMartin for 30, 40 years now. But Trump, he's going to solve the day now. Outcry as Trump restricts funding for sex trafficking survivors. Now, what is this? What does this mean? I had Barbara Amaya on the show recently, and she was telling me about how her group and her people she advocates with, that they went to the state legislature and they got a bill passed where young girls who had been sex trafficked their whole life, because they were under control of traffickers, of pimps, and organized traffickers, and they would be put out on the street prostituting, that these girls would get arrested. They'd get arrested, they'd be arrested, bailed out, rearrested, do the little, time served, get out, all that stuff over and over and over again. One girl here in the story here was arrested 100 times. Now, it wasn't her fault she was getting arrested. She wasn't prostituting herself under her own free will. She was under the control of a pimp. It was called safe harbor legislation in Ohio. That's what they call it. They call it safe harbor legislation. And what they did was they put together a program that these young girls who had these long criminal records from when they were held in captivity and being trafficked could go and petition the court and get their criminal record expunged. Okay? Which means it no longer exists. That even if you get pulled over by the cops, they can't pull it up. Okay? A fresh start in life. For someone who's a victim of child sex trafficking, they escape their pimp, right? Like the Annika Mack we had on this show here. She escaped her pimp. She ran for her life, and they had gangrene growing out of her. She was held in a garage, living in a guy's basement on the cement floor in his garage, and sold to another pimp. But she escaped. She got out of there. And now you want to have a normal life. So they created this opportunity where you can get your records expunged. Well, Mr. Trump, who's the hero, obviously the hero of this. He's rounding them all up. These rings, the elite pedo. He's ringing them all up himself. He's got his own little badge, and he runs out and makes the arrests himself. Well, he just signed an executive order here that totally crushed this program. It eliminated all funding for this program that allowed these young girls, these victims of sex, and young boys too, victims of sex trafficking, to get their records sealed and start a new life. This is your hero, guys. Okay, well, you guys lift the veil. Dealing with a hero, Trump, and how he's rounding up pedophiles and doing all this wonderful stuff. Speaking of which, good old, what's his name there? Scott Pruitt resigned this week. Well, and like most politicians, when they resign, they say, well, he wants to spend more time with his family. That's usually the excuse they give. Well, in Scott Pruitt's case, he wanted to spend more time with the Cardinal Pell. Okay, Cardinal Pell. We found out this week, and this isn't being reported at all. Okay? Talk about everything that Scott Pruitt was doing with the lotions. He's trying to buy a used mattress. He's sending people trying to get a Chick-fil-A, the restaurant franchise. This guy's, they say a grifter's got a grift. They say, this guy, man, he's like a kleptomaniac, man. They put a kleptomaniac in charge of the EPA, But this guy takes a trip to the Vatican, and he spends the whole weekend, the whole trip there. First, it came out, he had one secret dinner, a $250 a plate dinner with Cardinal Pell. Now we find out from whistleblowers within the Scott Pruitt, because we found out he was borrowing money from his aides and stuff like that and not paying them back. This guy's the worst. But we find out this whole trip, he was the guest of Cardinal Pell. George Pell was his host the whole time, and they had breakfast, lunch, dinner, tours, everything was, the whole trip was Cardinal Pell. The whole thing. So once again, this theory that the Trump administration is doing more to arrest pedophiles and child trafficking. Cardinal Pell was arrested days after this visit for a lifelong pattern of child rape and child abuse. Okay, it's going on in Australia, so they can't come right out and say what the charges are, but they're hinting around in the newspaper. You can kind of figure it out. Okay, now in any normal administration, if you're going to visit Australia for a state visit, the local foreign office would say, hey, man, word is Cardinal Pell's about to get busted, for his lifelong habit of raping little kids. Stay away from him. But in this case, that didn't happen. Now, either it's because Trump has allowed the whole foreign State Department to, fall into disarray and confusion, or they did know and they didn't care. And it's up to you cyber sleuths and you YouTubers to figure out and come to solve that one. I got another mystery to solve. Don't you there, YouTubers? Interesting. Scott Pruitt, he was one of these folks who was confronted in a restaurant, while he was eating there. A woman holding her little baby. Kind of a staged event. Okay, but fine. So there's that one. Then there was, who was that? Sarah Huckabee Sanders, went to the Red Hen. She had to get I heard that she had, it was an all-you-could-eat restaurant, and she had her pockets filled with plastic, but lined with plastic. But maybe, maybe that's just a rumor. But that she was asked to leave. They wouldn't let her eat. So I'm calling this the snowflake diet. What do you call it when Trump administration can't eat out in public? The snowflake diet. Right? Right? Because that's what they call us, right? We're snowflakes, but we're confronting them and they're running. And then on all this radio shows and stuff like that, you hear about, those snowflakes. Now suddenly the snowflakes are bullies and terrorists because we're terrorizing them. Now, do I get a kick, when I see that Sarah Sanders and then Huckabee and I forget who the other guy too, being confronted when they're out in public, and Maxine Waters telling everybody, gather a crowd. When you see them out, gather a crowd and make them, shame them, don't let them eat. Drop that fork. Hey, you. Drop that bun. Drop that roll. Don't you dare butter that roll. Put that down. Right? Don't let them eat. Let's starve them out of office. But just keep in mind, folks, okay? Listen. if you want to do this kind of aggressive confrontation, which on some level I'm all for, and I say let's listen, let's get it started. Let's go, let's go, man. But just keep in mind, okay, that the elite capitalists, what they will do is they will have the police on their side, okay. And if you're going to confront people in public, be prepared to face those kind of consequences. That there will be arrests made and these kind of things like this. There will be a scapegoating and more rounding up, of dissidents, and political arrests and political, imprisonments by people who resist. And that you have to accept that going in. And the old theory, the revolutionary theory, is that the more the government oppresses us, the more the resistance will grow. Okay, and you kind of, the theory is to agitate the police and the military, to agitate them, that they clamp down even more, and they become even more oppressive, and this will cause the people to bubble up and rise up. That's the theory. Okay, by greater minds than myself, and it throughout history came up with that logic. So I can't complain when I see the military and the government, the police getting more oppressive and more restrictive. I can't complain too much because in theory, it causes people to rise up, and there are 300 million of us, and very few of them. We have the numbers. So if we're going to be confronting people, if it's going to start over a Cinnabon, and then when you see them at Cinnabon and they're picking up their Cinnabon, and you smack it out of their hand, well, it's like the what was it, the Boston Massacre, right? When they threw the snowballs at the redcoats. Same kind of thing. When we see them eating a snow cone, we'll smack it out of their hand. Okay, let's take another commercial break. You can tell I haven't done much preparation for tonight's show. Okay, we'll be right back. I got some more good notes for you. Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Perhaps your current business wants to add multiple point-of-sale locations across the country quickly. Maybe the facility you manage could kickstart revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Well, CartKing.com can be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail, coffee, and food carts and kiosks money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. From large, heated, and secure outdoor retail or food kiosks to smaller, more mobile coffee station carts, CartKing.com designs and builds them all. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on the website. Please visit them today at CartKing.com, that's cart-king.com, or just call them at 1-877-986-7771. That's 877-986-7771. The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubhashTechnosis.com. Subash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company located in India. So you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service to boot. They offer all kinds of services, business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshore research networking, customer care, press release content writing and distribution, and much, much more. They offer website development, e-commerce solutions, mobile responsive designs. Now, I've personally worked with Subhash for over 10 years. This is the man that puts out my press releases. They've done work on my websites, so I can personally recommend SubhashTechnosis.com. You can find the link to Subhash Technosis at OppermanReport.com and also AwakeRadio.us.
People are waking up. They're standing up to those pushing pesticides and GMOs as safe alternatives for a starving world. What a bunch of crap! I tell you, I'd rather eat dirt. So I drink Life Change Tea. It's an herbal drink, cleansing my body of toxic sludge and nasty chemicals, and of course, ridding the intruders that are hidden in my so-called food. And by the way, Life Change Tea is non-GMO and organic. No fillers, no yuck. Just a great defense against you-know-what. May the supplement force awaken you. Don't fall to the dark side. Sorry. I went to the movies last night. Anyway, enough said. How do you get that herbal drink and change your life? GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You will awaken. You will get stronger, and you might even lose a bit of weight. So awaken to Life Change Tea and the many one-of-a-kind supplements at GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. May the supplement force be with you.
We all have questions. Did he do it or did he not? We all have opinions, but do we really know the truth? New evidence will now be presented and the ultimate answers will be revealed in the explosive documentary, Serpents Rising. Inspired by the bestseller Double Cross for Blood, an independent investigation of the trial of the century, the lies, the myths, and the concealed evidence. Don't miss Serpents Rising.
This excellent documentary film is available at Serpents Rising at Vimeo Videos on demand. Watch it for $1.99. You can have your ad played here at OppermanReport.com every Friday night, 5 p.m., and Saturday night, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on Friday nights, too, we do a live portion for 1 hour that I just do a live monologue. The ads are very, very inexpensive, and they're also played in the Opperman Report member section. In the member section, you can find all kinds of exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. It's as cheap as $6 a month, $20 a quarter, or $75 for a year. If you contact me directly at oppermanreport@gmail.com, I'll set you up with a little special deal there where you get a discount if you PayPal me directly, and you can get a copy of my book. I want to thank William Ramsey, who helps us produce the show and book guests. You can find William Ramsey, who's an excellent author, at William Ramsey Investigates on YouTube. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. One more, another clue, I guess you might call it, to Mr. Trump's plan to round up all the pedophiles, the pedo roundup, I guess we'll call it. Got into this little bickering fight today on Facebook. I had to block somebody because, I was talking about this case about Representative Jim Jordan. You know him? He's the guy who was in the Benghazi hearing and stuff like that. He sticks out of my head. I first really came to my attention. Rep. Jim Jordan, Ohio State. He used to be an assistant wrestling coach down there at Ohio State before he became representative. At the Benghazi hearings, and after one of those Benghazi hearings, it went on for like 12 hours where he was grilling Hillary Clinton. When he came out, and it was a long day. I watched the whole thing. I was exhausted, And he came out of there, man, shot out of a cannon, it was on some kind of substance, man. If I had to guess, I would say it was methamphetamine. But he just came out of, he was, man, blitzed. And you recognize he always got that short haircut, and he wears like the blue shirt with a yellow tie or a red tie with kind of sleeves rolled up, a folksy kind of guy. Well, anyway, he was an assistant wrestling coach down here at Ohio State, and these are college kids. But these college kids were being sexually harassed, man, by this pervy doctor. That was Dr. Strauss's name is here? What is it? Dr. Richard Strauss, and he was feeling up these kids and stuff like that. The joke with these college players was that whenever you went for an exam, you had to pull your pants down no matter what it was. I got a headache. Oh, you come on and pull your pants down. Let me feel your groin. And and they had all these anecdotal stories. Everybody was talking about it, and they're saying that this guy, Representative Jim Jordan, knew all about it. They joked about it. They talked about it. And he never did anything to stand up for it. And by the way, too, the people that are coming forward with the stories now, there's 5 of them now, 5 other people who are involved with this wrestling program who come forward and say that Jim Jordan knew all about this and turned the other way with this sexual abuse is going on. Most of them donated money to Jordan. They like the guy, but they're just saying he did the wrong thing here, you got to fess up to it. So Jordan's denying it, and good old President Trump, who's the champion of sexual victims, don't forget, he's rounding up pedo rings. This is what he does. This is what he does. Okay? There's no evidence for it, but this is what Q says. This is what he's doing. There's 1,400 arrests, pedo arrests, the first ones ever to be done. There's more pedos being rounded up than ever before in history. Well, except except when he cuts out the funding to have your record sealed and all that kind of stuff, and supports this Rep Jim Jones here. When Jim Jones is covering up for this homosexual perv here at the college wrestling locker room. But that's all. Ed's a liberal. He's a libtard. That's why he reports these things. He says a libtard. He doesn't like Trump. So he makes these things up. Yeah, so that's the whole thing. It's amazing. Fascinating. That's what went on with Lift the Veil. That their theory is that because I'm a socialist, as soon as I heard that he was a socialist, I shut my mind off and I couldn't listen to another word. Now, that's a great way to learn. That's a great way to think. Funny how, the same folks who believe that the whole media is lying to them about everything, the whole Russia investigation's a lie, it's all fake news and made up. Every single thing the media says on TV, the MSNBC or CNN, it's all a lie. Except when they tell you that socialism is scary and bad for you. Then they're telling the truth. Except when they tell you, the worker, that you need to be afraid of socialism because it doesn't work and it's no good and it's going to take away your freedom. When in reality, what it's going to do is you're going to keep all your money that you work for. And some guy who's holding up a piece of paper called a shareholder, a piece of stock, who sits home and doesn't work but profits from your labor, and they tell you that's good for you. That's good for you. The starving kid who needs some food stamps to feed, he's the one taking all your money. The poor have all your money, not the obscenely rich that sit home and hold that piece of stock in their hand. And they don't have to work because you're working for them. And they own a piece of paper that says that they get the money from where you work. How do you like that? Did they work to buy that piece of paper? No. They inherited that. They never worked a day in their life. And that's how this stuff works, guys. But don't listen to Ed Opperman. He's a libtard. He's a socialist. Socialists are bad. They want to take what you have. Not the rich. No. Not the rich that are sitting at home with those pieces of paper that take your money. They're good. They like you. Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Oh, my God. Wait, but I was getting back to this thing about this case. I was talking about this Representative Jim Jordan story, and right away, someone posted, and did you know that right now in Arizona, I hold here in my hand the name of 50 communists, that in Arizona right now there's a pedo camp where there's a child sex slave camp, and it's owned by the Clinton Foundation, this property, and there's an underground cavern with children being held prisoner. I says, no. Veterans found this. Veterans found it. I says, no. That's all a hoax. I talked to the people who live there. I talked to them, too. She tells me, no. Listen to my interview. I talked to the people who live there at the camp. I talked to those people, too. She tells me, okay, well, I have a recording of them telling me that nothing happened there and that they know the people who built that camp and that not a child was ever near there. And the Clinton Foundation doesn't own that camp, okay? All right, they never even saw Clinton there. Well, I talked to them, too, and they said that they're guilty. Okay, right. See, people are well-meaning. They're well-meaning. And they're out with the idea of little children being harmed. It tugs at our hearts. Nobody wants to see, because first of all, we were all children once, and we know how it feels when we were in peril as a child. But also, too, most of us are parents. You're an uncle, you're an aunt, or you're a parent or a teacher maybe, and you love kids. Kids are innocent. You want to protect them. You want to watch them grow up and be successful and stuff like that. You don't want them traumatized. You don't want to see them in cages, right? And you don't want to see them sexually abused. But we have to stick to reality, and just pretending that QAnon or somebody or Trump is somehow rescuing all these. Just pretending that's happening doesn't help any of these people. You got to get down and do the dirty work and do the real investigation. Talk to these, locate them, talk to them. I'm picking up my own freaking dime. I'm borrowing money to go down and investigate this McMartin thing. I'm not just watching a bunch of YouTube videos and coming on here repeating what I've heard. I'm doing the work. And love me or hate me. Hey, you can hate me all you want. Ed's arrogant. Ed's a libtard. Ed's a commie. Hate me all you want. But you don't want to know what? I do the work. I do the freaking work. Okay? No one else had Nathan Forrest Winters. Well, one guy had him. They did one. Go listen to that show, then listen to my interview with him, and tell me what you think. Everyone thought that his case, he met Victor Salva on the set of the movie. It was a one-time. I brought him up. We find out he was being molested when he was from 6 years old to 11 years old. 5 years long. This thing went on. And then it was all covered up by Francis Ford Coppola, and Francis Ford Coppola sued the victim for $5 million. Find that reported anywhere else. Go ahead, I dare you. You can hate me all you want. Okay? Yeah, I got a lot of clients, man. I don't like them, and they don't like me. But I get the work done. I produce the work, and I give them a report at the end. I'm not here to be liked. Let me see what time it is. I got things to do. Oh, great. Hey, the show's almost over. Okay. See, I was getting mad at you. See, now I like you again. Don't worry. I love my audience. Let's see. What was was one other thing. There's a couple of big things we got to talk about. Maybe we'll do it next week. You know, Facebook admits that they're deleting accounts at the direction of the U.S. and Israeli government. That's the truth, man. There's an article in The Intercept. Check that out. Maybe I'll get the guy who wrote the article to come down here. And we'll do a whole show on it, because that's important stuff, man. Facebook is deleting accounts at the behest of the U.S. government and the Israeli government, and also too something. By the way, all you Jew haters out there too, I'll do a whole show for Jew haters. How's that? Okay, because that's rational, right? To think that the Jews are responsible for all the world's ills, that's perfectly normal. Okay, you know, I tell you. Go visit, like, Brooklyn or the Bronx one day. Meet some real Jews and see if they didn't own a damn thing. Control nothing. There's another bill that came out. Both Democrats and Republicans join in a bill criminalizing speech critical of Israel. It's going to be there's no way this will withstand a challenge in the Supreme Court due to First Amendment. We can be critical of anything when we want. It's encouraged to be critical of Ann Opperman. Okay, if we pass the laws, you could be critical of me. But now they're saying we can't be critical of Israel. Both the Democrats and the Republican. And it says, there's a quote here: "I cannot imagine any reason for this egregious offense against the First Amendment except to appease AIPAC and their AIPAC-associated donors." Da, 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 da. So there's that. One little more thing I have in my notes here that I want to talk to you about. I was listening to Laura Ingalls, and she had this guy filling in for her. And he did this whole bit, man, I got to tell you, where he was talking about how he went to Disneyland. And the lines were so long at Disneyland. And the kids around him were crying, and they were trapped in this one. It was just like those kids you see in the cages there. It was like being in detention at the immigration, just like those kids. They were crying too. If you're really so morally bankrupt at this point in your life that you can see little kids being held in cages and kept away from their parents and shipped across the country away from their loving parents, and try and defend that just because, of some political candidate you like or whatever, you really got to re-examine your priorities, in life, in the world. You could be the greatest Trump fan in the world, but please, put down your hat for a second and your chanting and your rah-rah and beg the man to stop doing this to little kids. The same people who can have a heart and be so concerned about these pedo rings and pedo camps and all this nonsense. Can you please direct that compassion in this area, and don't turn this into a, well, we hate libtards and we're angering the liberals by supporting. And just calm down for a second, and just, at long last, have some decency. At long last. Anyway, listen, if you like the show, and I got a feeling that more people hate the show than like it. Okay, but if you do like the show and you want to support the show, don't forget OppermanReport.com. That's where you can become a member. And there's exclusive shows in there. I'm adding 2 interviews I just did. You can hear my views on things and my opinions, and the people seem to think I'm an expert on. For some reason, they hire me to work on these cases, but whatever. What do I know? Maybe I need to. Maybe I need some sleep. OppermanReport.com. You can become a member, or you can email me directly at OppermanReport@gmail.com, and I'll give you a special deal on a membership, 13 months for $60, because I'm trying to recoup my funds here for this that I'm laying out here on this McMartin trip. So thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next week. I'll be gone all week long, working on stuff. But I'll be back next week either with a repeat. We'll do a live show Friday night no matter what. Even if I'm in a motel someplace, I'll have my laptop and I'll be able to do that at least. And we'll see what we could do about either a live interview or a repeat or who knows what. But thank you so much, guys. All you guys who are loyally supporting.